Hello, all of you Vainglorious, you wonderful people. The creative update for Astroneer is live, so let's take a quick look at what's new and what has changed, as well as find out my first impressions of this much anticipated update. But first, a big welcome to everyone on PlayStation 4 who can now play Astroneer. The game launched on PS4, complete with an exclusive suit, at the same time that the creative update went live. Now, onto the creative update itself. And of course, it is all about creative mode. But there is a huge caveat to creative mode. While you can turn on creative mode at any time, just be warned that doing so will completely disable achievements on that save file. But we do have the ability to duplicate a save, so if you think you might want to revisit a save file later for some achievements, it might be a good idea to make a duplicate of it first, just so the original remains as an adventure game. As you already saw a moment ago, you can launch a brand new creative mode game right from the game menu, and once you're in, there are a ton of new features awaiting. The first is the creation tool, which is a variation of the existing terrain tool that has infinite soil and power. It also comes equipped with a couple of new functions. Namely, there's the eyedrop mode that lets you select a color from the ground around you, much like the terrain analyzer has previously worked. And there's also the new paint tool that allows you to paint any terrain. Going hand in hand, there is the creation tool menu that allows you to select the width and depth of your terrain tool, and it even allows you to ignore hardness. I think the detail that I especially like is how each color has variations. You can see here I painted some yellow sparkly terrain, but I can easily make it look like rock, regular soil, or, well, whatever this lighter color is supposed to be. The research catalog model takes on a whole new role in creative mode and becomes the delivery catalog. Everything in the catalog, plus all resources, researchable items, hazard seeds, and more, are all available at the touch of a button. And once you've created an item, you can duplicate it over and over and over again, or you can just delete it with the same ease. You can basically delete or duplicate any item that an Astroneer can hold. So you still can't delete a habitat once it is opened. You can delete and duplicate pretty much everything else. For those of you who are super creative, there is the new TerrainLOD Anchor. This will lock the terrain into its highest resolution and allow you to view creations from a distance. Notice how as I fly away from the mountain, the area with the activated TerrainLOD Anchor remains crystal clear, while all of the surrounding terrain loses fidelity. If I go back to that anchor and turn it off, the textures go back to a lower resolution as I get further and further away. Of course, by now you've already spotted free flight mode. Once activated, you can fly about freely with no need for a jetpack or expensive fuel, and you can gain and lower your altitude at will. And of course, you can exit free flight mode anytime you'd like. The item plinths allow you to create any item directly from your backpack. Now, you do have to remove a plinth from your backpack to change the selected item, but once you have something selected, you can quickly create the same object over and over again without going to the delivery catalog. You can choose plinths that create the usual items you can create from your backpack, plus all 3 printer sizes, along with a resource plinth. But it does not stop there. There is quite a bit that you can customize in creative mode. You can choose whether or not you require oxygen, power, or even vehicle fuel. You can make yourself invincible, you can disable resource collection, or you can instantly become friends with every plant by setting yourself as invisible to hazards. And if all of that wasn't enough, you can change the time of day, how quickly solar time passes, and you can even shift the solar system itself around by modifying the sun orbit. And you know what? If you want a really good laugh, max out that solar time multiplier, then jump into orbit and watch the planets move about at a dizzying pace. Outside of all the great new toys for creative mode, terrain desync has been fixed. While I have not yet tested this in multiplayer sessions, I am already hearing good things from other players saying that the problem is now firmly in our past. There is one small downside, however, and that's that there's some terrain that you previously deformed that may reappear. In my main save, there was only one little small section that I found. But in another, an entrance to a cave I dug out was filled with artifacts, and even deeper into the planet, the tunnel system to the core ended abruptly. I definitely wouldn't call this simply artifacts. It looks as though I never even dug it out to begin with. But once you remove the soil, it should not come back in future sessions. The game also received some performance optimizations, and they are quite noticeable. In new saves, I was getting between 90 and 144 frames per second. And in my main save, where I have a ton of resources, objects, and a base that is partially below ground, I was seeing 50 to 70 frames per second. Now that may not sound like a big deal, but before this update, I was lucky if I could even get to 30 frames per second when I was at that base. So System Error did a great job with optimization this time around, and they have already confirmed that they have even more performance optimizations to come. There were a few other bug fixes in the creative update as well, but I'll let you head over to the System Error forums or the official Astroneer Discord to check those out for yourselves. Sadly, the issue with the chemistry lab dropping resources instead of sending them to attached storage has not yet been fixed. I had several silos of ammonium waiting to test this one, and as you can see, every canister of hydrazine I create simply falls beneath the chemistry lab. I'm sure that we are going to see this problem fixed in a future update though, or at least I really hope. And I know that the community was disappointed that the creative update did not include dedicated multiplayer servers. While I haven't heard them say as much, I'm sure that the people working on this at System Error were disappointed as well. But you know what? I don't mind that dedicated servers were delayed if they were not yet ready. I'd rather that they just keep on working on it and get it right instead of releasing something that may cause issue for players just so they can meet a deadline. So now that we've covered everything that's new and changed in creative mode, I want to talk about my first impressions. I know a lot of people who love to create sculptures, signs, and other soil-based creations in their games. I, however, am not one of those people. I tend to use terrain deformation pretty much just for flattening off an area for my base or digging tunnels through mountains or to the core of planets. And while the plinths and delivery catalog do allow me to blow things up quite easily, and believe me, I already have some ideas for future projects that will be much easier with creative mode, I can't see myself really spending a lot of time in creative mode for base building. I personally enjoy the process of working through the progression of the game to gather resources, gaining research bytes to unlock objects in the catalog, creating those objects, traveling to space to gather more resources so I can create even more advanced objects, and so on and so forth. Because of that, I doubt that I'd spend a lot of time building bases or creating collections in creative mode. I just would not have that same sense of accomplishment. So I'm not really the target player for this update, and that's okay. I am not in any way trying to throw shade on the creative mode or the people who will go on to make some very, very impressive creations. In fact, I kind of wish I had their creativity to create all those sculptures and other works of art, but I don't. So aside from a few projects for a video or two, or maybe a few laughs now and then, I just don't think I'll be spending a lot of time in creative mode. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is creative mode an absolute welcome addition to Astroneer that you will spend a ton of time in, or will you simply keep playing Astroneer as usual? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Better yet, join the Vainglorious Discord community and talk to us about it there. I truly cannot wait to see some of those amazing things that people are going to make in creative mode, and if you are one of those creative types, please send me a screenshot on Twitter or in Discord. And that's going to do it for this quick look and first impression of the creative mode update. Until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.